Hi guys, welcome back to our new episode on Rising Stars. My name is Roksana, and on Rising Stars we talk about actors of Montreal, and we also invite coaches and the casting directors so that you can get to know the industry better. And little thank you to our sponsor, Uber Eats Montreal. And about my guest, so I'm pretty sure that a lot of actors of Montreal as well know him very well. Johnny Cortes, nice to meet you
Hi.
finally.
Nice to meet you too.
So you wear multiple hats, right? Like you're an actor,
Yeah.
you're also a coach, you're a director. So we're gonna talk not a little bit, but we're gonna talk about all those different faces of you. But let's start first from the beginning.
Yes.
Where did it start? How did it start? Was it becoming the actor something that you dreamed about as a child? I find that it's very common for people in our industry. So let's go back in the past.
Back in time.
Back in
So
time.
I would say that it all started when I was 9 years old and I watched the movie The Matrix.
Oh my God, so like you
All right.
remember
I remember
the moment.
exactly. Okay, it's crazy because I watched it. I didn't understand anything, because
Was it in English or what?
it was in English, but no, it's because it's such a complex story, right? For a 9-year-old. But from that movie, I was just like, how did they make those effects? Where was the camera? So from there, I started being interested in movie making, right? So then I would do research about the behind the scenes, the actors, the director, and then so I kept going with that. And then when I was 15, I went to see a musical, and I fell in love with that musical. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Beauty and the Beast, back here in Montreal.
The classic one.
Yeah. And from there, I asked my mom, hey, can I start like theater classes? And then she put me into musical theater. So, which was 1 hour of theater, 1 hour of dance, and 1 hour of singing. And I did that for almost 10 years. And then...
It was like a musical theater where you were already acting, or you were studying there?
I was studying there.
You were studying there?
I was studying there, yeah. The school is called Nouveau Visage here in Montreal. And I did that for 3 years. And then after that in college, I did other musicals. And then in university, I did other musicals.
Yeah. You love singing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't consider myself a singer, but I know how to sing,
So you did have like in singing vocal classes during your studies, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, I just want to get more understanding of the education as an actor. So you had that one?
Yeah, so from there, I also studied cinema at Maisonneuve College here in Montreal. And from there, I was taking classes with producer and acting coach Tom Todoroff from the States. And then he was opening his school in New York. So then he told me, hey, you should audition. And I was like, why not? And I auditioned and I got in. So I went and studied acting in New York City for 2 years. Yeah, back when I was 21.
How different was it? And how different, it is the acting, coaching, teaching approach in US, let's say, versus, and you're also a coach now, right? Like you know it a bit from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Right? So what is the difference? How different it is?
How different it is? I just feel that New York, they really teach you how to work like your body, and then from there to put it into acting. Something that here in Montreal, a lot of classes is, scene study. Yeah, but they haven't taken movement classes, improv classes, voice classes, right? So I would say that in New York, they really build you from down up. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of fantastic classes here in Montreal. I love them. But I would say that that's the difference.
The difference.
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, then you studied there for 2 years. Did you already, at that point in time, did you book any role already? Were you like a working actor, or it was mostly studies?
It was mostly studies.
Mostly studies.
Yeah.
Then you came back to Montreal.
I had to come back.
What?
I had to come back because, I wanted to stay in New York. Like in my head, my life was New York, right? But unfortunately, because of legal reasons, and I only had my student visa, so I couldn't stay, right? So I would say that coming back, it was a little bit tough because I wasn't with my tribe, I wasn't with my group. But then, and for a whole year, I didn't work. Like, I didn't want to work. I was just like, but there's nothing here. My life was in New York. a little bit depressed.
Yeah, psychologically, it was difficult to...
A little bit.
Almost like doing a step backwards.
At that moment, I felt that. Nowadays, if an actor tells me I'm going to New York, but I have to come back, I'm like, come back. Trust me.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll talk about that one. It's an
big
interesting
time,
topic.
trust me. But no, so then coming back after a year, I met with a musical director that I worked with in the past. And she's the one that put me back on track. She's the one that told me to go audition for Beauty and the Beast at l'Université de Montréal. Her name is Christiane Jean, which I thank her a lot. And I auditioned and I got the role that I wanted. So that put me back on track, you know. And
it was like a confirmation. Hey, like you can. You're good to do that.
Yeah, big time.
Theater, it's interesting. So you did a lot of musicals then, right? Because you really were for a pretty long time into that space. The difference between regular theater and musicals, okay, like in theater, I find personally that theater is even more difficult than acting in front of the camera because you don't have multiple takes.
You have one take.
One take.
Yeah,
Either you messed it up or like
every night is one take. Yeah,
exactly. But then adding on top, and for example, my vocal coach, she loves musicals. She does musicals as well, and like doing on top of that dancing and on top of that singing and being in the character, it's like for me, it's like a next level. So the difference from your perspective, being in that environment, difference between the musicals, theater, and I guess then film and TV, it's a completely different world.
Right. So you're asking what's the difference between theater and musical theater? I just feel that musical theater, you need to be more on top of your things. Because, I mean, there's a choreography coming in. There's a song coming in. Even if you're not on stage, you're doing back vocals.
Oh, really? So if you're not standing and singing, you're still singing in the back?
Absolutely.
I didn't know.
Absolutely. Because the thing is, there's the singer singing, but there's back vocals. So we're off stage just doing the harmony or things like that.
So you can't really relax and chill.
Not really. Theater, sometimes, I mean, I did a play once that the play would start, I had a scene, and then I would come back like at the end of Act 2. So for a good hour, I was just, backstage, chilling, waiting for my moment, but yeah. But musical theater, no, you need to be like on top of your things. Yeah.
Okay, wow. But your heart, if you compare musical theater, and then film and TV, as an actor, where does it lay?
As an actor?
As an actor.
I would say between... That's tough.
It's tough when you have too many choices.
It's a tie between theater and film. Because what I love about theater is that it's so alive. Like, you're so in it. That there's no time to like break or, let's go for lunch. It's like, no, it's you're in it for a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Something that in film, sometimes it's gonna be, you'll shoot a scene from episode 3, and then next you're shooting a scene from episode 1. So it's not like a continuation.
I get it, yeah.
So it's interesting, right? But it's not the same thing. Right, like I think it's Denzel that said that cinema is made for filmmaking, for filmmakers, and theater is made for actors. For actors, because again, sometimes you're gonna be giving like you're gonna be in it, it's gonna go well, but then we need to cut a plane pass, and you're just like, it's a lot of energy.
The noise or the car or something.
I remember it happened once, not me as an actor, but me as a director. And we were filming, and I had the shot. Like, the shot was good. I screamed, cut. I look at my director of photography, and I'm just like, we got it. He was happy. Everyone was happy. Then the sound guy goes, yeah, we need to do it again. And I'm just like, what do you mean? And he goes, yeah, I didn't press.
Oh, my God.
Recording.
Oh, my God.
So I just looked at him and like,
I can imagine how bad the guy felt.
I'm the kind of guy, as an actor or director, that, it's good energy on set, it's good vibes and everything. So I did my best to just, like, breathe and just be like, it's okay. We're going to go at it again. Please make sure that you're rolling. Please. So then I'm just like, we're going to go at it again. Camera. All right. Rolling. And I'm like, sound. Speed. You sure? Yes. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's film. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And in the theater, you're into the character from the moment.
Yeah.
You don't really go out and in, out and in, out and in.
Yeah, you stay there the whole time. Yeah.
So theater. You did eventually a lot of like different classes. You yourself also, you're a coach. There are different schools of thoughts, right? So there's school of thought that it's always good to change and go from one acting coach to another acting coach to another acting coach. And then some people say like, no, like if you found your sweet spot, you found the person you love to work with, like you don't really need to jump from one to another. What's your point of view on this?
Good question. I would say it's interesting to go see other coaches to see different perspectives, right? And I always say, don't follow a technique or don't follow necessarily a coach, but create your own acting style, you know? So for example, don't go with method acting, Meisner. No,
yeah, I wanted to ask them, do you follow any of those?
It's like go with Roksana's method, all right? Which is you learn these two things from this coach, these two things from this coach and this coach, and then you create your own, right? But very important as well is make sure to not do one style after the other in like 2 months, because then you won't know exactly how to do the character. If you do Strasbourg, a week later you do Meisner, a week later, like your brain is gonna be like, okay, what do we do? You know what I'm saying? So it's okay, focus on one, and once you understand it, okay, now go see the other one. That's.
And you yourself, do you have any preferred technique? If you put aside the Johnny Cortes technique, but the one that are the one that are like the classic ones that usually
Strasbourg,
right?
Well, that's the thing, is because his technique is very much like to bring back something you've lived in real life and put into acting. That's the only thing of his that I don't go there, because I'm just like, why would you bring back something painful from the past that you've probably healed from just for a character? I mean, you're bringing back traumas, right? So it's just like, so he coached Michael Chekhov, Stella Adler, that they were mostly use your imagination, right? So that's where I go towards, is use your imagination to create that that situation that you're living, to be able to portray that character. That's what I say.
Do you still remember your first shoot that got you like the first, I don't know, actor credit, 3 actor credits, or the first big role that you got and you said like, oh wow, like a little piece of my dream came true?
Yeah, well, in English, well, because I work in both English and French. In English, it was The Long Shot with Seth Rogen. And it was so cool because that day I was supposed to play a bartender, right? And I had one line, like his character would come to the bar and then I would say something in Spanish while giving him a glass of champagne. And then the day of, the director goes, oh, we're changing everything. Now you're a guest. I mean, because the thing is, in the scene, we were in a hall. There's like 200 people, so it was full with extras. And then he tells me, yeah, you're going to be one of the guests. So I'm just like, okay, so I won't be the bartender. So I was a little bit confused, like, but I had a line. Are you taking off the line, you know? And he goes, no, is now you're going to have an improv scene with Seth Rogen. And I'm just like, oh. And he goes, are you okay with improv? And I'm like, yeah, I'm very okay with improv. So then he goes, yeah, I'll introduce you. Hey, Seth. Yeah. It's like, oh, come here for a second. So then I met Seth Rogen, and he's a sweetheart, by the way. He's awesome. And yeah, the scene was pretty much he would throw me a line and I would throw back. You know, it was like a bam, 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 bam.
Actually, because I never thought of that. And again, like I'm relatively newbie to the industry. I'm like, what, like 3.5 years? Because I was always thinking that all the scenes, they're always usually like scripted. And sometimes you would have a little bit of deviations if the actor just forgot the word. So it does happen, because it's not the first time now that I hear that, oh, like, and the actor decided to improv. How often does it happen? And then, I don't know, any tips or tricks for also newbies on how to navigate? Because to your point, like you learned, you're on the set, you learned your line, you like your brain is in that line and in that character, and then like boom,
something happens. I would say listen to your scene partner, because if you throw me something that is not on the script, I have to answer to what you just said, You know?
Which makes sense. Should make sense.
Which should make sense because if you throw me a line that is not in the script, I'm just like, fine, I'm gonna throw you something else. Let's, you know, it's a tennis match. Is bam, you need to hit back, right? But I would say that if it happens, it depends on the role you have in everything. For example, when I was in Le Temps des Framboises, with one of my scene partners, sometimes we would just throw a line or whatever. Or sometimes, because I work with the director Philippe Falardeau, and he knew that I loved improv. So sometimes the scene would end and he wouldn't cut. So the scene would end and I know it's ending, but I'm just like, he's not screaming cut. And so until he doesn't say cut, I keep going. So I would add something or I would add a line or, you know, and some of them was kept in the final, final product.
That's actually a cool tip for those who find yourself on this. Because, we're so mentally also used to, the line's finished.
Yeah,
and then it's silence, and you're waiting for the.
Are we done?
Are we cut?
No, we're not done.
In the camera, are we cut?
Oh no, it's like you keep going, and that's what I tell actors that when I do workshops is until I don't say cut, you keep going. And when I say keep going, it's not necessarily adding lines or whatever. It's just staying in the moment,
in the character.
Because the thing is, the characters still exist. You know, even if the scene is over, the character keeps breathing and thinking, and so stay there. You know, until they say cut and then snap out of it and come back to reality. You know, but I've met actors that the scene ends and, okay, we're good? And I'm just like, what are you doing? Don't do that. It's like, stay in it, you know? Yeah.
But still, like, you would never think of it until somebody tells you or until you had experienced that yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have, did you already have your dream role? And what is it? Or not?
Dream role.
It's still waiting for you out there. Dream role. What character would it be?
Like a character that already exists or whatever?
Any.
Because that's the thing. When I was 19, 20, I went back to see the musical Beauty and the Beast that was presented in Place des Arts. And I remember the actor playing Lumiere, the chandelier. He was so good. He was so good. And I remember me telling myself, one day I'm going to play that character. And then 6 years later, I played Lumiere in the musical, right? So that was cool. But another character that I would love, I mean, growing up, I was a big fan of Antonio Banderas. So him playing Zorro, he was so cool. So I would love one day to play Zorro. How? I have no idea.
Well, you can produce and direct it.
Do I have the skills? I do not. You know, a stunt, not even a stunt. I would train for it. But I would love to one day play that character or, Zorro.
Do you get typecasted?
Sometimes.
What is it typecast? Is it aligned anyhow to like real you or like what the characters that you would love to bring to life on?
Well, it's interesting because most of the time, I've played the bad guy. You know?
Oh, really? Yeah. So you're the villain?
How? I have no idea. But I'm just like, sure. You know? And at some point, I was getting upset about it because I was just like, why am I always the villain? Like, can I be the good guy or the romantic guy? Or no, I was like, no, you're the villain. You're going to kidnap this character. You're going to kill this character. You're going to have a gun. Why? I don't know. You're just going to have a gun. It's like, come on. But at some point, I was just like, you know what? Fine. You want me to be the bad guy? Cool. But I will be the best bad guy that you ever seen.
You know? You embraced.
Big time. That's what you want? I'll be the best at it. You know?
I'm usually, like, often I would be casted in, like, I don't know if I can say that, in a bitchy, like, tough, kind of not nice person role.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because one of my first experience, I was supposed to kick the stunt guy. And I mean, I'm not a violent person in life. So I remember that take one, I like kicked him a little bit. And he's like, okay, cut. Then the stunt coordinator comes and see me and he goes, by the way, just kick him. Okay, don't think about hurting him, just kick him. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he had pads and everything. So, okay, take two. I like kick him a little bit. They go, cut. So then the stunt coordinator, he calls me and he calls the stunt guy. And he goes, okay, look, this guy is paid to be kicked. All right? So just kick him. don't think about it. So the stunt looks at me and, dude, I have pads, I have protection. Just
do it.
Don't think about it. Just swing. Just go for it. And I was like, fine. So take 3, I didn't think about it. I kicked the hell out of him. And that's the take they kept, you know, because I really went for it. I'm just like, fine. And yeah. And when you see it on screen, I mean, people, they're just like, oh my God, you kicked him? And I'm like, that's what they wanted, you know, like, yeah.
Do you still get nervous before going on set? And okay, answer that question first, and then I'll ask the second layer of the question. Yeah.
Getting nervous going on set? Not really.
No?
Yeah, because the thing is, I know my text, I know my character, I know everything,
the preparation
right?
Is there.
Exactly. So if I'm not prepared, for sure I'm going to be stressed, right? But I would say that was mostly at the beginning when I was starting, even before conservatory. You know, like sometimes I would just be a little bit nervous and everything, but nowadays I'm just like, I know what I have to do. You know, and worst case scenario, they'll change the script the day of. And you just
So if that happened, I also had a question like, did it happen to you when you prepare for one? Well, you answered that question a little bit. Prepare for one role, for a specific scene, and then you come and poof, we're doing it completely different thing.
Yeah.
How to anticipate that? Because improv, it's one thing. Improv, it's still within.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I actually had lines, and it's funny because it was a different scene and a different energy that I had to give to the character. You know, because the scene I was practicing, I was talking to my wife, and I'm telling her that everything's gonna be okay, and she's like, "Oh, I love you, I miss you." And then the good scene was she went to see someone, and I'm just like, "Why are you there?" And like we have a fight, right? So it's a different vibe.
Different energy.
It's a different energy. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, they gave it to me like 20 minutes before shooting the scene, and yeah, I just read it, learned it, and just went for it. The most important thing is stay relaxed. I know it's easy to say and not easy to do, but just breathe, you know, because acting, I mean, the 3 tenets of acting, I always say that to my actors, is relaxation, concentration, imagination. If you're not relaxed, trust me, you won't be able to concentrate.
Any tips how to relax before? Like when your heart goes...
Yeah, it's just breathe from here, because if you start like here, I'm creating tension in the back of my neck, my back, and my lower back. So I'm not breathing properly, and I'm getting more nervous because my body is tense. No, just relax and it's gonna go well. You know, just go for it. You know, and with experience and with training, this is very important. I mean, actors need to keep training. Okay, that's a must. I mean, even me as an actor, I've worked in professional sets and everything. I'm still training because the brain needs to, you know, to be updating, to practice. Absolutely. I have actors that after the conservatory, oh, I don't need classes anymore. Then they get an audition a year later and they mess it up. Is it because they're bad actors? No, it's because you stop training. It would be like someone who wants to do a marathon and, oh yeah, I'll start practicing the day before the marathon. It's like, no, you practice for years before that marathon. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit by a little bit by a little bit.
Absolutely.
Did you perform in your native language too?
In Spanish, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How does it, it's interesting because, so you did in English, in French, and then in Spanish, which is your mother tongue.
Yeah.
Is it easier? How different it is? Because English, French, I guess you're fully bilingual, right? So it doesn't really, because the Les Dames de Framboise, that's in French, right? So
but my characters spoke Spanish only.
Right, I saw it. Yeah. But you still, so like English, French, I guess it's somewhat equally, right? So it's not. And then performing in Spanish in your native tongue, is it easier? Like a different feeling?
It was different. You know, I don't know how to explain it. It was different in the sense of the way I would throw the line or the way the energy I had. It was, I don't know. It was just different. Because the thing is, my character, he came from Latin America, so I need to put in my head the fact that, okay, the mentality that I have is from there and not from here. You know, it's just completely different. And it was funny because it was a challenge at the beginning because whenever a character would speak to me in French, I had to play the, what are you saying? Right? Because my character didn't speak French. So it was interesting because the first days characters would talk to me in French, and I would respond like, and the director, he was just like, dude, you don't understand French. And I'm like, right. So I had to play the...
There's a learning curve.
You know, the what are you saying? So that was interesting. But yeah, it was just different. I mean, honestly, I have no idea what words to put into, but it was challenging.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was the first time me playing in Spanish.
In Spanish and... You
know, because I speak Spanish in life with my mom, siblings, and everything, friends. But now to portray a character with that language, it was just like, it's... Yeah. So I had to practice a lot, I would say.
Oh, wow. Because I was thinking at one point of time, like, if I needed to perform in Russian, which is my native language, because even I needed to do a few times some voice-over auditions in Russian, and I even felt that I sounded better. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm so obsessed with my accent in English. Yeah. So in Russian, like, I actually sound pretty well. So I thought that acting in your native language would be easier, but you're right, maybe because the brain is already trained a certain way.
Exactly.
You almost need to unlearn.
Exactly. I did a lot of acting in French, a lot of acting in English, first time in Spanish. So it is my language, but I was just like, it's never done that.
Oh, weird.
I was like, okay.
Unusual.
Yeah, let's go for it, you know. Yeah.
So the booking the role on Les Dames de Framboise, right? So it's a long... Because usually we get to shoot for like a one day, one liner, whatever. It's a very short moment, right? There, your character is a recurring character, right? Yeah. Like it's a long shoot.
Yeah.
Right? Did you learn your text did you try to learn your text, the whole story all in one? Were you still breaking it? Well, I just want to understand and let the audience also know what is the difference, like when you book something which is a long-term ongoing.
Right. Well, the way I worked it out was, I mean, I had the 10 episodes, so I read them all. You know, so I knew the story and I knew exactly where my character was, right? And then week by week, because the thing is in a series, you'll shoot, day 1, you'll shoot scene 7 and a scene from episode 5, you know? Then day 2 is a scene from episode 1 and a scene from episode 9.
So in brain, there's no continuity.
Exactly. So it's very important to know exactly where you're at in the story. Because in scene 9, my scene partner versus scene 1, the relationship has changed, right? Because 2 months has passed. So why am I talking to him and saying these things now and not before? So I would go week by week to like learn my lines, right? But I knew where I was in the story. Because something that can happen as well is that day, we finished earlier. We have time to do the scene of episode 8.
Nice.
So you need to know where you're at. So then I would ask for the site. I'd be like, okay, yeah, this scene, okay, I remember, okay, let's go for it.
So you would so it would be still beneficial, because in my mind, I thought, okay, like usually you have the schedule, so you know, like, okay, like tomorrow I'm doing scene 1, 2, 3, I'm learning this block of text. The day after tomorrow I'm doing X, Y, Z. So then technically you need almost to be, I don't know, halfway, 50%
of the whole text.
All you seen, the
Absolutely.
whole text. So it's
Absolutely.
Because that's what you do usually in theater, right? Like you learn a whole chunk of text, so it's still somewhat applied when you book a role in a recurring role in a long shoot.
Yeah, big time. Big time. It's, again, always be ready. That's my motto. It's always be ready. Whatever happens, you're ready to go.
And then moving from acting to coaching.
Yes.
Did you feel like it was like a natural continuation of you as an actor? How did you move? How did the idea come up with?
It all started in New York. I was rehearsing for a scene, and then at the studio I came out and I saw one of my friends, right? And I was like, hey, you're rehearsing for something? Yeah, I have an audition. But the guy that was supposed to help me, I mean, he won't be able to come. So I was like, you want me to help you? And she was like, oh, you have time? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I was helping her, and I saw some things that I was just like, this line can be more like this and everything. But I mean, she was a more advanced actor than me, because at that point she played in Homeland.
Homeland.
Yeah, the TV series. And so it was a little bit like intimidating, you know? So she goes, oh, what did you think? And I was just like, it was good. And she goes, what did you really think? And I was like, it was, yeah, cool. And she goes, okay, stop being Canadian with me, all right? And just tell me what's up. Okay. So then I told her, well, look, this line, you're saying it this way, but if you say it this way, you'll be able to justify this line. And in this line, you're emphasizing this word instead of this one, which has more importance than this word, you know? And she goes, let's try it out. I'm like, cool. So then she did it, and I was just like, fantastic. In my head, I was just like, that's it, you know? And she told me, there were some good tips. And I'm like, and she goes, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome, right? 3 days later, she tells me, I got a call back. I was just like, oh, congrats. And she goes, yeah, I want you to coach me. And I was like, to read with you? And she's like, no. I want you to coach me. And I was like,
it was in New York, when you were like
when I was living there.
Living there, which was like at your early stage of your acting career.
Yeah. And after that, she told me like, oh, you have a good eye for that. So then I kept doing it like once in a while. You know, I had friends that, hey, I have an audition. I'm like, oh, I'll help you out. And but it was like one actor per month, you know? And then I opened my production company in 2019, and then I was coaching more actors for a play. Then 2020, the pandemic happened and everything. And then in 2021, with the help of my mom and my sister, because they told me, why don't you teach acting or coach acting? Because I've always loved teaching. You know, like even that was my plan B career, to be a teacher. So she told me, why don't you teach acting or something? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I can test it out. And that was back in 2021. And here I am. You know, I started with one-on-one, doing self-tapes. And then a lot of actors told me, hey, why don't you do group sessions? And that's where I created
That's how
the
they
workshop. Yeah, and then I did a test in 2021, December 2021, with 6 actors. And to really see what works, what doesn't work. And then in 2022, I did the first one.
How many you have in the group?
How many actors?
Yeah, usually you have for the workshop.
Usually? Yeah. Between 14 to 20. Yeah, okay. I don't go more than 20 because I really want to take my time to work with each actor. Because sometimes, I mean, I know I could go for 30 actors, you know, but I'm just like, if I go with 30 actors, I'm going to be rushing you.
That's the quality.
You know, so you'll do the scene. Okay, notes, this, that, do it. 5 minutes. Okay, next. You know, you won't feel that, okay, I actually learned something.
What do you find more rewarding, one-to-one coaching or doing the workshops like that? What would you do more if you had?
Rewarding for me or for the actor?
For you.
For me, I prefer the workshops.
The workshops?
Yeah.
Why?
And for the because the actor grows way more at the workshops.
At the workshops?
Way more.
So then what is more rewarding, beneficial for the actor as well? What do you find the workshops? Why workshops? You would find that the one-to-one in sports, out like in ballroom dancing, in singing, it's better.
Because you learn from other actors. You know, you learn from other people. Right? A one-on-one is you'll learn things, absolutely. But in group is, okay, I'm feeling the energy from this person and this person. I'm going to use it to do this. Right? And also my workshops, we have movement classes and improv and voice and speech in the morning. So with other people, it helps more, right? Because you can take ideas from the others, right? So that's why for me, and I did it once for 5 weeks. I did a weekly class, and I felt that the actors, I mean, they improved, but in 2-3 weekends, the improvement is way higher. It's crazy. It's, yeah.
I came to observe. You have that option for those people
for every actor for the first
hesitant, curious, whatsoever, to come and observe the audit. Question: so the choice of the place, because you have a big audience with a stage, a real stage, which sometimes, I don't know, it might be a bit intimidating for like shy actors. Was it a conscious choice of this space to be exactly this way? Is your theatrical background is coming through?
Yes, and also is why the big space is also because, again, the exercise we do in the morning and everything, but it's also to get you out of your head, you know? So you have people watching you, you have a bigger space, so it's, you know, you need to stay focused with your scene partner. Right? That if it's a small place, it will be different. You know, again, I tested out in a smaller place, and I was just like, no, I want to. So
it was a conscious. Because I was sitting, looking at like, why the stage?
Yeah, and the stage again, you're way more vulnerable. you know, way more. And it's important, that's what I tell actors, you need to be comfortable with uncomfortable emotions, uncomfortable moments, right? So stage can be uncomfortable, but once
just
you
by
get
itself,
right, but once you get comfortable there on a set, you're gonna do it like that. In the audition room, easy peasy, right? So I always put the worst case scenario, that's what it is, and then the rest is easier.
A question. So do you see, so when you see a person, like can you right now, did you develop the ability to see, okay, like he has the potential, he has the talent, or you think that every person is coachable for acting?
Every person is coachable. Now the thing is, how hard is the actor ready to work? That's what I have to say. Because I've worked with actors that at the beginning, other actors are just like, eesh, is it possible? And I'm just like, give me 2-3 weekends with them. And then they see the evolution. They're like, oh, damn. But it's actors that really want it. And I have other actors that they just don't put in the work. And it shows.
But when you say don't put in the work, you mean like it's not about learning the lines, right? It's just not being there, not being present.
It's not being there, is not being willing to just take that step. You know, and like, okay, I need to break this, I'm going to break it and keep pushing. You know, I have actors that sometimes I see them work and I'm just like, and I ask them, do you really want to do this? Because you need to be honest with your own self, right? Because sometimes it's people that is like, oh, well, my mom told me to do this, or you know, my parents. And yeah, but what do you want? I want to do more dancing. Cool, go into that. Because you're going to love that. You know, you need to do this because you love it, right? I have actors that sometimes, I ask them, what's your main goal? Oh, to be famous. And I'm just like,
this is,
okay.
no, this is...
And I'm just like, sure.
It's wrong start.
I'm not the right person to coach you. I mean, I can coach you, but my objective is not to make you famous. My objective is to make you a working actor, you know, and to push you towards play the lead roles. But I have actors that they've told me, oh, I'm comfortable with 2-3 liners. And I'm like, cool, I'll coach you towards that.
Okay, so even let's say when the person comes to your workshop, like what do you want? And based off that, it's a different...
Absolutely. As I always push the limits of the actors. So those who tell me I want to be the lead, I'm like, cool, I can get you there. You know, but I'm going to push your limits, you know, because that's how you get there.
Okay, so when I come to your workshop, I want to be the lead. Keep
that
in mind.
Yeah, I want to be the lead.
Yeah, I want to be the lead. No, like you go.
Let's go.
You go home, right?
Absolutely. But I would say most of the actors that I work with it's actors who they want to be the leads. Yeah, it's let's rock and roll, and I'm like, let's do it. Yeah.
Do you have actors who are asking for, like, when you choose the scenes, for example? Do you have the actors that would ask you for a specific scene? I'll give an example.
Sometimes.
When I was in Susanna's class and I said, hey, like I want a psycho, like I want a completely different something. So do the actors usually like ask for that, or sometimes those ones who want to be the lead? I guess
sometimes is I want to try a comedy, or I want to try this kind of character. And I'm just like, sure. If I see that they're not there yet, I'll tell them, I'll give you something before that. You know, and they're just like, cool, because sometimes I want you to work on something specifically. Because if you're good at playing the psycho, why would I give you a scene that you're playing a psycho? It's gonna be easy for you. You know what I'm saying? So now let's play with this kind of role, or let's work with stillness, or let's work with this. Or there's this one actor, Miriam Lopez, that she told me at some point, I really want to work on stillness, and I was like, say no more, you know. And I gave her like Game of Thrones scenes. You know, that it's all powerful characters, right? But that is the stillness that make them powerful. You know?
The eyes and
Absolutely.
the nonverbal.
The nonverbal. Yeah. So we've been working on that, and her stillness is now it's powerful. It's like she doesn't move, and you're like, damn. It's like she can be scary as a character, you know, not as a person, as a character, right? So yeah, I do choose specific scenes for what I want you to work on. Yeah.
What is easier? Or easier, more interesting? So you have usually like you have a different level of the actors, right, in your workshops as well. You have the newbies, and then you have the actors that have been going to different workshops or have had already a bunch of training. Who is easier to coach? the newbies or those ones that are already experienced? Like, do you need like almost to unlearn, or there is no right or wrong answer in this industry, in this
I always do my best, so there's no right or wrong, because if you do it one way, I'm gonna ask. Like sometimes I have actors that, oh, why are you playing it this way? Oh, because of this. So if it makes sense with the scene and the analysis, I'm gonna be like, okay, that makes sense. In that case, let's go towards this. With that idea, let's go towards this, right? If it's something that they're not in the right place, is where you're playing it this way, oh, because of this, and then I'm gonna say, but what about this line? And they're gonna be like, oh, and I'm like, right. So it doesn't really make sense. So let's go more towards this side, right? So there's no right or wrong, and also, which one are easier? Both, you know, with beginners and advanced actors. I would say that as long as you leave your ego at the door, it's going to be easy to work with you. But if you come in with ego, that's going to be tough.
Did you have actors who came in with ego?
I'd rather not answer. No, I'm
kidding. But then how do you? But then how do you manage? Because it's another interesting thing for a coach, right? Like you have the person, he paid for the classes, but then usually those people have the ego. They're not that willing or open or flexible, right? To a different style, different exercises or whatsoever.
I just talk to them and make them understand the importance of not letting your ego control you or give a point of view. You know, because we all have egos, right? All of us. But it's important to just don't listen to it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that I mostly work on that, because I remember when I was training some teachers, whenever an actor would come in with an ego, they would just kick them out. You know, if you don't like this, get out. And it's just like, yeah, but get out. I don't go there, because that's me showing my ego. And like, oh, I'm the boss. It's like, no.
Who has the power?
Exactly. And again, it's not a question of I'm better than you. It's we're equal, right? I'm here as a coach, you're here as an actor, we're going to work together. That, for me, that's extremely important, is we're going to work together so we can grow both of us. Or else, what are we doing?
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
As someone who also did direct films.
Yes.
How does it feel when you're directed by someone?
Oh, that's cool.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah, because, again, I go with... Well, you mean when I'm the actor and there's... Yeah, because, I mean, I go with their vision, right? So if they tell me, oh, go more here, I'm going to be like, sure.
Like, even if instinctively you would not do that.
Right. I mean, I'll tell them what I think. And I was thinking this. And if they tell me, cool, let's go with it, cool. If they say, oh, I see it more like this, okay. It's their movie. They wrote it, right? It's not me, right? If that's what they want. Again, leave the ego at the door.
At the door.
You know, stay humble. Stay humble, because you never know who you're going to work with tomorrow. You know, I mean, I work with directors that is their first film, and I'm like, sure, let's go for it. You know, I mean, some of them are really shy to ask me, you know, like, hey, I was wondering if, I'm doing a movie, but, and I'm just like, yeah, go for it. And it's like, you want to be one of the actors? I'm like, sure. I mean, if I can that day, let's go for it. Yeah. If ever they tell me, oh, it's for 7 days and everything, I'm like, that can be a little bit more difficult because of my scheduling and, you know, my coaching, my self-tapes. It can be tough, right? But if it's, hey, if it's a 2-day shoot, I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. Yeah. I mean, I love being on set, you know?
Another question. So now you're expanding the workshop, right? I saw that you did Montreal and you also started doing Ottawa. Yeah. Difficult to organize? How did you find, like, was it difficult to find? I mean, in Montreal, people already know you. And if I think about that, so you technically started a new workshop, it's been like, what, 3 years?
Yeah, the group workshop is going to be 3 years.
Yeah, and like after 3 years, you're already trying to expand, which is like kudos. Yeah, because it's a quick development of the business, let's put it this way, because it's also business in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Right. So finding actors in Ottawa, was it easy, not easy? The place, the whole expansion organization.
I had the help of Christiane Jean, the musical director I work with. That she's the one that kicked me a little bit to keep going.
Yeah,
who helped you? Yeah,
she
was like, keep going. Right now she lives in Gatineau. So she's the one that like contacted actors to come see the workshop, to do the workshop.
So kind of she said it a bit.
Yeah. She helped me a lot. Yeah, and I also approached some agents in Ottawa, and unfortunately they got the message too late. But they told me next time you come, please let us know. We would love to see your workshop. And I'm just like, cool.
Okay.
You know, so we just keep going. You know, and once they see what it is, they're like, oh, I want my actors to work here, and I'm like, next time that I come is gonna be in 2 months. You know, because I do 1 weekend every 2 months.
Yeah, you don't do it very frequent. I'm trying to get on. Yeah, but it's
no, because to get free a whole weekend per month, it's a lot. You know, because it's Saturday, Sunday, 9 to 5. People they have friends, families. It's tough, right? So that's why I do it every 2 months. But again, in a weekend you learn a lot. It's a lot of energy that passes. That you'll be good for 2 months, right? And summertime I have my Montreal, New York workshop, which is I bring teachers from New York here in Montreal to teach Montreal actors. Because I have a lot of actors that they tell me, oh, but I want to go to New York, I want to go train there, but it's so expensive. I need to, travel, Airbnb, and I'm just like, so what if I bring them here?
That's interesting.
So I mean, you're home and you're training like you would train in New York.
Okay, I have a few more questions before we finish. So question number 1, before I forget, because it was not on my list, it just popped up now as we're speaking. So going back to the initial, the start of our conversation, right?
Yes.
So New York,
yeah.
US versus come back to Montreal. Montreal, technically, let's be honest, it's not the center of the film industry, right? So, but you said that you would tell to the actor, go to New York and come back to, and you yourself, you stayed in Montreal. Why? Because for everyone, New York, LA, that's where I should go if I want to go into acting.
Here, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you have a work visa and everything, I mean, if you want to go to New York, go for it. But I mean, as a student visa, come back, right? Because you won't be able to work in New York. But not only that, but here it's you versus 100, 120 actors. In New York only, it's you versus 1,000 actors. So competition is crazy. And it's actors that they work on their craft every day. You know, I mean, I always ask actors, do you work on your craft every day? Oh, well, last time, I mean, they worked on it every freaking day. I've met actors that it's crazy how they work, So it's a question of discipline. And again, that's the difference between the teaching in Montreal and New York. New York is the discipline is every day you're on it, right? Compared to here.
A bit more relaxed.
Exactly. So that's why I would say go train there if you want to train there and if you have the money and everything. And then come back and start your career in Canada. Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. And once you have that resume, then go see New York and LA for you to work. Yeah. Because as a newbie, if they don't know you, rarely they'll pick you.
Okay.
And it's not because you're not good.
Yeah,
no, you can be fantastic.
It's the reality of the industry.
But it's just but I mean, we've worked with this actor and I know how they work.
He can deliver and that's it, I'm going to go. Safe choice.
Yeah, and it's in every industry. Like, for example, Le Temps des Framboises, I mean, I got lucky because Philippe Falardeau, he saw something in me and I didn't have the resume, but he was just like, yeah, he'll be perfect for this role. And he gave me that role, that recurring role, right? I wasn't a known actor and he gave me that shot. And I'll be forever grateful to him. Yeah.
What keeps you motivated? I mean, the industry itself, but
what keeps you motivated?
But you're still in the industry, you're still here, and I'm sure you have a lot of plans because, the industry itself, it's designed to kick you out mentally.
Big time.
Mentally.
Oh yeah, mentally it destroys you twice a week.
Yeah. Every audition you send and nothing, and then it's every time it kicks you.
What keeps you motivated? It's the passion, the love. I love this. I don't see myself doing
anything else.
And I know I could. I could be a lawyer. I can work in accounting. I can totally. And I have the knowledge of it. I mean, I can go to university and get that knowledge, right? But I won't be happy. And life is so short to keep to live for the money. You know, because let's be honest, and I'm sorry that I'm telling you this in a, you know, raw, but will you make money in this industry? Not necessarily. But you'll be way more happy than people who make money.
But that's,
and then I can assure you that.
That's, well, you don't even need to assure me, because that's what I'm living. Because I worked for 15 years in corporate world, making very, very good money.
Yeah.
And then now if somebody tells me, hey, like, we have a job for you in the corporate world for that money, I'm like, no. But like, you don't earn in that business. I mean, if you get lucky, you get recurring role, you might be earning for a little bit, but it's a roller coaster. So no, but you're much more fulfilled and
you're
happier.
More alive.
You're more alive.
You're more alive. You're in contact with your emotions, your body, relationship with other people. You know,
What's next for Johnny Cortes?
Today? No, working on a couple of short films, writing. I would love to put up a play next fall.
Not musical?
No. Musical. No. It's to produce a musical. It's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Unless I have the team with me, let's do it. But on my own, it's possible. Next workshop, the New York workshop this summer. I'm prepping it.
I'll keep an eye on that. That's an interesting one.
For sure.
Well.
Yeah, it's a 5 days intensive.
A 5 days intensive?
Yes, 5 days.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah.
It's New York style.
Exactly.
New York style.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like there's people that it's like 5 days is a lot. I'm just like, I mean, do you want to really do this? Again, it's how hard do you want it, right? Other projects? Yeah, and I keep auditioning. Yeah, I'm gonna be in an ad, in a commercial I'm shooting this upcoming week. Yeah, so it should be on TV like by month of May or June. Yeah. So yeah, just keep going. You know, I mean, next audition, you know. Yeah. I do my best to not plan as much ahead, you know, because we never know what's gonna happen. You know, like at some point they contacted me last year to write a play in 2 months. You know, that wasn't on my schedule. You know, my schedule was, okay, I'm gonna do this in September, this in October. Then they contacted me, I want you to write a play, and you have 2 months. So all the projects that I had to put them aside for that project.
So you took the project.
Yeah, no, it was a very cool project, very cool, and it was cool because I got the chance to bring the actors that I coach, to bring them to work with me.
That's
cool. They were the actors and everything.
That's cool.
So
I give the opportunity for
big time. I always do my best to, if it's for a project, can I bring the actors that I work with? Yeah, that's a must. And they go, absolutely. And then the second thing is, and they need to get paid. You know, it's like they will not do it for free. It's like, that's very important for me as well.
Yeah, that's the industry as well. It's tough.
Yeah, big time.
And that one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I learned a lot about you, and I'll come at some point of time to your workshop as well, because I really enjoyed it. And it was a different set, which was interesting for me also to observe, because the stage and the whole thing. So, and I'll keep an eye on your New York 5 days intense workshop. That's also pretty interesting. I don't think anybody does that in Montreal. I haven't heard of that, at least. So.
Me neither. I mean, maybe there are other classes that they bring New York actors, but New York coaches, but I don't know.
Cool. So we'll stay in touch. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed the conversation like I did. I learned a lot about Johnny. I mean, I knew a little bit about his workshops. Now I know much more about him. And actually, we wanted to sing something, but we didn't come up with what we wanted to sing, because I think he used to sing before in the musical theater. So maybe, I don't know, like in another episode, we'll finally come up with something to sing as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to seeing you at another episode.